These are the problems from your Jamboard practice assignment for 3-1 on the coordinate plane and graphing using a table of values. So what we're doing here is we are given an equation, for example, y equals 2 times x, and we're going to substitute each of these x values in for x to get out the corresponding y value. We're then going to plot each point and graph the line. So let's start with when x equals -5. 2 times -5 is -10. So we're going to go ahead and plot that point. We should know that each of these graphs go up to +10 and down to -10. So if you get a value like -10, you know it's going to be at the very bottom. Next up, x equals -3. We get -6 for our y value. X equals -1. Y equals -2. So we're going to plot the point at -1 and -2. X equals 2. So y equals 4. You should also note that each of these points are going to form a line. So if there's a point that's askew, we want to check the math first, make sure we calculated it correctly, and then we want to check that we graphed it correctly. So our last point is the point 4, 8. So now that we have all of our points plotted, we want to connect and extend with arrows. Moving on to number 2, we're using the equation y equals x minus 6. When x equals -3, y equals -9. When x equals 0, y equals -6. When x equals 5, y equals -1. When x equals 7, y equals +1. Again, these points should form a line. And when x equals 10, y equals 4. Now that we have all of our points graphed, we want to connect the points and extend with arrows. Number 3, we're using the equation y equals 4 minus x. So when x equals -4, now when we subtract a negative, we add a positive, so y equals 8. When x equals -1, y equals +5. When x equals 0, y equals 4. When x equals 5, y equals -1. And when x equals 9, y equals -5. So we're going to connect and extend. And that is the graph of that linear equation, y equals 4 minus x. The last one here is y equals -1/3 x. So when we multiply by a fraction, especially like negative 1/3, it's the same as dividing by negative 3. So we're going to multiply each of these x values by negative 1/3, which is the same as dividing by negative 3. So when x equals negative 9, y equals 3. When x equals 0, y equals 0. That's the point at the origin, 0, 0. When x equals 3, y equals negative 1. When x equals 6, y equals negative 2. And when x equals 9, y equals negative 3. That's it for the Jamboard practice assignment on 3-1, graphing linear equations using a table of values. These are also 4 problems from your homework. So the rest of your homework are these last 2 problems here.